I think that by now, if you haven't heard, that Student Leadership Johns Creek did a phenomenal job producing 4 documentary films about Macedonia Cemetery. They were here. I really encourage you to find those on YouTube. Maybe Irene, if there's a specific website that studentleadershipjohnscreek.com, you can see those films. Very well done. They've gotten a lot of notoriety really throughout the state and in the media. And so the City of Johns Creek wanted to honor Student Leadership Johns Creek and all those involved in the production of those films. And we're also going to have a proclamation from Liz Hausmann, our Commissioner for Fulton County. But first, if Councilmember Stacy Skinner would come up here and read the proclamation.
Whereas Student Leadership Class of 2023 members, under the excellent direction of Irene Sanders, conducted oral history interviews, archival research, filming, narrations, and editing to produce documentaries highlighting the culture, challenges, and impacts on future generations of those who lived in the area and are now buried in the historic Macedonia Center. And whereas Film 1, produced by Simran Balakrishnan, Angela Wynn, Varsha Nirmal, Advay Pampatawar, Archana Patatiria, Bhavin Shah, Rishi Subramanian, and Kate Wilson from Northview High School explored enslavement and racial discrimination during the Reconstruction and progressive eras. And whereas Film 2, produced by Sophia Ho, Neha Sani, Yakta Sharma, Arya Smith, Neha Srinivasa, Nicholas Stone, and Emily Zhao from Chattahoochee High School examined the legacy of the Cherokee Nation and how the lives of their descendants intersected with Black residents who are buried in Macedonia Center. And whereas Film 3, produced by Brady Carnsale, Peter Gottschalk, Lena Grulin, Theo Hediger, Sam Conkle, Neha Mon, and Sophia Mendez of Johns Creek High School highlighted the importance of genealogy by focusing on a former enslaved African Americans buried in Macedonia Center. And whereas Film 4, produced by Riley Baker, Shruti Balachandar, Nishanth Giraharan, Purvi Ivor, Lakshan Kumar, Luke Marhasel, Megan Armighan Nair of Northview High School emphasized the efforts to preserve this irreplaceable asset. And whereas filming and editing was done by Anais Long and Stella Braun of Centennial High School, and Irene Sanders, Joan Compton, and Catherine Perota dedicated countless hours of support and leadership as project directors. And whereas these films are now priceless treasures to be used to honor the legacies of generations before us and educational tools to preserve these stories and pass them on to the next generation of Johns Creek residents. Now, therefore, on behalf of John Bradberry, I, John Bradberry, Mayor of the City of Johns Creek, Georgia, on behalf of the City Council, recognize Student Leadership Johns Creek Class of 2023 documentarians, and witness whereof I have here to set my hand and seal this 14th day of March, 2022. Thank you.
Commissioner Hausmann, can you come up and read the proclamation?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What a pleasure it is to be here in Johns Creek tonight for this special occasion. Before I read portions of the proclamation, I don't need to repeat all the wonderful things that were just said. I just want to tell you that Fulton County is planning screenings of the film at our new central library that's just newly reopened. It's renovated. We saved the historic building, but we're doing it in conjunction with this year's celebration of Juneteenth. So we plan to do that on Thursday, June 16th, I believe, is the date. I didn't write it down, so I hope I got the date right. But you're all obviously invited, and we're really excited about not only showing off the films and celebrating the accomplishments of the students, but showing off our new central library as well. So hopefully y'all all can make it. So let me please read this proclamation into your record. Whereas Student Leadership Johns Creek, in partnership with Mercer University's Tift College of Education and the Johns Creek Historical Society, hosted the premiere of a 4-part film documentary series about the history and preservation of the Macedonia African Methodist Church Cemetery in Johns Creek. And whereas the 4 films cover topics such as the history of Macedonia Cemetery, the relationships between those who lived in the Johns Creek area, the importance of historical research, and why it is important to preserve historical cemeteries. And whereas 4 groups of students in the 2023 Student Leadership Johns Creek class conducted the oral history interviews, archival research, filming, narration, and editing to produce these documentaries. And whereas Student Leadership Johns Creek is a 2-year program for emerging leaders in their sophomore and junior years who attend Centennial, Chattahoochee, Johns Creek, and Northview High Schools and Innovation Academy. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Fulton County Board of Commissioners recognizes Student Leadership Johns Creek for their outstanding work as historians and as filmmakers on this important project, and does hereby proclaim Monday, March 14th, 2022 as Historic Macedonia Cemetery Appreciation Day in Fulton County, Georgia. Congratulations.
Could we have the students and the project leaders come up for a photo?